It's the Legion of Doom versus the WWE Tag Team Champions, British Bulldog and Owen Hart. Very exciting. One of those matches that more exciting on paper than it actually turns out to be when it comes to it.
I mean, Hart just sort of spends a lot of his time just running away and
chicken shit healing.
Yeah.
It's nice to see them. Davey Boy Smith had returned to the WWE in 1994 after a British tour that he'd co-promoted with Max Crabtree. Had been a huge success. Max Crabtree had co-promoted, and basically he wanted Bulldog to fill the shoes that Big Daddy had left and be the main eventer. But Bulldog, even though it was a big success, that tour, as soon as the WWF came calling, he was straight back there. And why not? He comes back to the WWF and they push him at a high level. He's in a tag team with Lex Luger, two guys they don't quite know what to do with, called the Allied Powers. And 6 months ago, before this show, he turns heel. He aligns with Jim Cornette, and he headlined a number of the In Your House shows against the WWE champion. That included Diesel, he did some with Bret Hart, and Shawn Michaels. He would have a couple of pay-per-view runs with him. And he then formed a team with Owen Hart, and they won the WWF tag team titles. 2 months before this, in February, the WWE had crowned the Bulldog the very, very first WWF European champion. He'd won a tournament. It'd taken place over several shows they'd had on a European tour in Germany. And he beat he beat Mankind and Vader to get to the finals, where he faced Owen Hart. And the odd thing about that was they were co-holders of the WWF Tag Team Championship at the time. And they didn't really make much of it, as in, is this going to affect the team? They basically just sort of, I don't know whether it was a nod to sort of go, Hart will have the best match possible with Bulldog.
Yeah.
And there's also an odd thing about it, that being the European champion, both of them had performed on World of Sport back in the day. So there is a lineage between the two of them. What's even nicer about the match, which takes place in Germany, is because it was abroad, they didn't have their normal lighting rig. And so it's darker, and it actually looks a bit like a World of Sport match the two of them have. Yeah. And they let them just go at it. There's no interference. They just have a really, really good technical match, which Bulldog wins. It was the first new belt they'd created in 20 years. So at the time, it was quite a big deal. And they wanted to do it basically as a way of drumming up a bit more interest within Europe. They wanted them to feel they had their own champion. And very quickly, they jumped that by the wayside. I did have a look on YouTube of that match. It is up there. You can enjoy it. It had been uploaded by an account called Too Much Wrestling, and they've watermarked it with their own logo.
It's an interesting,
caper. Been up there 3 years, Pete.
And yet, can we get a single thing fucking up there without WWE coming down on us like a ton of bricks?
How is that not a copyright strike? It's literally just the match with nothing else.
No.
And they've put their watermark on it.
I just think genuinely, if WWE sort of see you doing anything analytical or creative or doing anything with their stuff,
it's taking it outside the remit.
Yeah.
We've presented it like this. That's how we want you to see it. What we don't want is two horrible British people going over the top.
Talking about steroid trial.
Yeah, his head fell off. They had mentioned in their thing, they actually even do a bit where they say, this is cut because of WWE claims. Full match is available on our Telegram channel. And it's like, don't get fucking shirty.
And they're doing it on their Telegram channel.
It's been up there for 3 years and you haven't got a copyright strike. I do not understand it. And loads of people underneath are all like, what a match. It's nothing to do with them. Don't start giving them the comments going, it's good.
Best wrestling channel ever.
Thanks so much for this one. Thanks so much for fucking this one. Just unbelievable. The Legion of Doom also making their return to the WWF after some years out. They'd largely been AWOL from the WWF since SummerSlam 92. And the reason for that is Hawk went on a massive bender and was fired. And Animal...
Did that start in the UK?
It did, yeah. That's the Wembley Arena show. Wembley Stadium show.
Yeah.
I mean, say arena. The thing is, no one's ever going to go back to Wembley Stadium, so it's just a very easy mistake to make. I'm a future man and I know what's happening. The problem with Hawk, obviously, caused Animal to be left on his own. And Animal from the Legion of Doom on his own was, they were very difficult to find anything for him to do. And what he did is, at the end of his WWF run, he retired. And he retired for the reason that he had taken out a Lloyds of London insurance policy.
The Lloyds of London boys.
And he retired with a bad back. The Lloyds of London story is one of the most wonderful examples of people from the professional world thinking that they would get a fair shake from people from the wrestling world.
I do like it because they did, for once, the men who have slept in their car for probably 8% of their lives.
Yeah.
They got one up on a big old,
It was a big victory
company
for those people who did it. So Lloyds of London had started offering policies that would give a huge, big lump sum payment to wrestlers whose careers ended because of injury.
They probably got pulled in by the idea of wrestling being fake.
That's exactly what happened. They said because it was predetermined, they didn't believe that there was a very slim
chance you'd actually get injured.
Of people getting injured.
Oh, you might believe there's a cockney in the insurance broker. You might believe this, Dave. These fucking mugs. They don't even know what they are doing in their own profession. We're going to make a mint out of this.
One of the things is, Lloyds of London, they weren't cheap to get these policies.
Yeah.
But that, if anything, encouraged people to cash in on them. So from the moment that they're basically doing the Lloyds of London policies, I think the wrestlers are all like, I can't afford this.
Yeah,
but I'm getting it all back with interest.
And also, they could call in an injury, because their backs will be injured anyway. They can get a doctor to sort of look at their back and go, yeah, your back's fucked. Because every wrestler is wrestling injured all of the time.
It is really worth saying that the wrestlers who did have those policies, who did claim on them, they were in a position where they were injured enough that if you were medically examined, they would say, everything he says that is wrong with him is wrong with him.
Yeah.
So what happens is, between 1993 and 1994, Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and Road Warrior Animal, they all had injuries that were deemed career-ending, and that triggered their insurance payouts from Lloyds of London. Ricky Steamboat was also mentioned as having a Lloyds of London policy. Ric Flair had one, and he was one of the only wrestlers who didn't claim on it. He'd at one point got a very bad inner ear thing which affected his balance, and he thought that was a career-ending injury. He basically went there the morning of to sort out his payment, wanting to get the doctor to basically give him this diagnosis. And he woke up that morning and his ear was fine, and he decided he didn't want the bad karma of claiming for something that he didn't actually have.
Right.
So he was one of the only guys who didn't claim on their Lloyds of London policy. There has always been, because of the nature of insurance policies, they have never really stated what the payments were, but they were not small. Some of it was entirely legitimate. So Ted DiBiase, who retired in 1993, he got his payout. He never did wrestle again. He only managed, and that was sort of just walking around, never took another bump, really. Mr. Perfect, he got his payout. He quit, and then he did do some sort of refereeing, and then he joined WCW, and he did wrestle again. And he wrestled for a number of years afterwards. Rick Rude, he got his payout, and he wanted to return to wrestling in about 97, and he just couldn't make a way of protecting the payout and also being able to get back into the ring. One of the people who really was affected by all of these payouts was Bret Hart. And Bret Hart did have a Lloyds of London insurance policy. And when he had a career-ending injury, when he got a side kick off Goldberg, which gave him a concussion, and he began having a number of concussions, he went to claim, and Lloyds initially refused to pay out. And everyone had been paid out, apart from Bret Hart, who definitely had a legitimate career-ending injury. So he ended up taking Lloyds of London to court. He sued them, and he won. And he was given a payout of $800,000, which, again, in the context of the high-paying career he had, is pretty small money.
Yeah.
What is interesting, of course, is that a number of years later, Bret Hart would return in a limited capacity to the WWE, and he would take part in a number of matches. But the WWF were very concerned about being on the hook for that Lloyds of London payment. So they came to an arrangement with Lloyds of London. It's believed that Lloyds of London had a certain amount of say in the layout of Hart's matches and what he could do. And what that means is we end up with that WrestleMania match where he takes on Vince McMahon, where all he does is just hit McMahon repeatedly with a chair for much too long, and then it ends. And you can see that Lloyds are very much like, we're not wrestling bookers. And the whole idea that after this long period of all these payments to all these guys who, came back, and Road Warrior Animal very much came back, all these years, and then you just sort of go, well, thank God that chapter's over. Then you get sued by Bret Hart, and you're like, well, at least it's finally over now. Then the WWF ring and say, can you come and book a match for us? You just be like, oh, we're never getting involved in this again. And they never did. What happens when Animal is retired is that Hawk, he gets a bit better, and he goes to New Japan, where he forms a new version, if you like, of the Legion of Doom, called the Hellraisers, with the Japanese star Kensuke Sasaki, who puts on face paint and calls himself Power Warrior. warrior. And they have a 3-year career in Japan. At the end of it, they're joined by Animal, who is sort of working as a manager, and he gets the bug. Basically, he's been away for a couple of years. I imagine all his money is spent, and he's like, well, the other thing is guaranteed contracts are here now. The business is on the up. It would be silly for me not to get back into this trough. So that's exactly what he does. They would quickly, in 1996, have a 6-month period in WCW, magically healed Animal's back, and then they come back to the WWF in February 1997. The match that they have together, I mean, this is not the young and hungry Legion of Doom that we had before, but you've got a match with the Bulldog, Owen Hart, and the Legion of Doom in. It's not going to be a waste of time.
No,
it's
going to get a good one.
A solid meat and potatoes match, slightly ruined by some sort of like dumb booking. I think what you've got this period as well is you've got Vince Russo, who is, you know, largely the most divisive figure in professional wrestling, is beginning to have a bit more influence. And you do notice there are lots and lots of boring, stupid ends. So what happens here is that Legion of Doom do get a pin on the tag team champions. Everybody thinks they've won the belts. As the team are going back to the dressing room, the ring announcer says, actually, you pinned the wrong man. You pinned the Bulldog, and Owen Hart was legal. So, and then they sort of go, we don't want to come back and do it. And they go, well, if you don't, you'll be stripped of the belts.
Yeah.
And so then they come back, and there's a bit more of a match, which the audience are really like, oh, well, we thought we saw a title change. And now we're feeling a bit deflated because this never then just ends up in, you know, another title change. It's messing around. And Bret Hart comes in and just attacks them for the disqualification. 3 endings there for the price of 1.
Yeah.
That seems very much a little bit of a Russo bit. There's one little bit in this match where they do begin to show you that what the future is, and that's they cut to a picture-in-picture of just Steve Austin arriving at the building. And that is electrically exciting. And seeing Steve Austin just walk through a doorway is more exciting than this match. And, oh, my God, the moment you see that, you're just going, there's the future. Get him in every match. Doesn't matter even if he's just walking through a doorway. Get as much Austin as we could possibly get.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, in your house, it's the World Wrestling Federation. I think, Doc, is something that you can actually bring and hang in your house. Doc, what about it?
We had the advert for the Undertaker Door Banner.
Yes, explain to the good people at home what a door banner is, because I haven't got a fucking clue.
I think it's just a poster that you're supposed to stick on your door.
Right.
And a door is bigger than a man, because that's
how it works.
You need it to be. You need it to be. Otherwise, it's a dog flap. And the Undertaker thing, the idea is you put it, I think, on the back of your door or on the front if you think it might ward off evil. It's about 50% bigger, this poster, than Doc Hendricks. And Doc Hendricks was a wrestler. They're charging $29.95 for it in dollars, which at the time is expensive, but still not too expensive for the amount of Undertaker you get.
Yeah, it's absolutely ginormous. It kind of reminds me of, I seem to recall Zach Morris had a picture of Kelly Kapowski, sort of life-size in his cupboard, and it's a little bit like that. It's a little bit kinky.
They were big in America in a way that they weren't here. So you used to get, like, Marvel Comics would advertise those great big, you get a drawing of Iron Man, you know, or Vampirella if you were a bit older and your parents were liberal. And the best thing about this is they show this thing, which is, let me tell you, I've never seen outside of this pay-per-view and would happily pay £200 for. But Doc Hendricks just says, no kid should be without it. The WWF champion hanging on your bedroom door. There'd be nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about. Like he's like you know.
I gotta tell you, no kid should be without it. It's the hottest thing going in the World Wrestling Federation today. The Undertaker Door Banner. Look at the size of it. The World Wrestling Federation champion hanging on your bedroom door. There'd be nothing to worry about.
It just strikes me as like kids that are getting in, you know, have got chaotic lives, and you know they're having.
And Doc Hendricks is saying, if you get this, those problems stop.
I mean, we can literally.
There'll be nothing to worry about.
The WWF guarantee that he ain't going to be coming in the room. He ain't going to be. It's just all
this
a bit wrong.
Scare off all those people, those frightening people who try and get in your room. Put him up there. There'll be nothing to worry about.
Nothing
to worry about. They're selling it to like nervous kids. The whole thing is sort of
grim.
Really left me. I did sort of go, I hate you, Undertaker. I hate you. All of the broken promises. Poor sods.